Okay, so we're back in a tool set, and we're going to continue on with our little mushroom patch teleport here. What we're going to do, or actually what I should say is what I've done off camera to this module is simply added the Legends Info plugin. The Legends Info plugin gives us access to some more features that we can leverage in the teleport plugin, and the most important one that we want to use right now is the progress bar that comes with the Info plugin. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify our starting mushroom over here a little bit. We're going to fire up the teleport plugin on him. Now I've already got the info plugin configured. I activated it in the master plugin, so we don't have to do any of that. And I'm going to modify this first destination here, the one where you're level 1 to 5, and I'm going to add a couple of things. First thing I'm going to add is a special delay effect, and one I like to use for this demo is a duration type one. This one here, we're going to add an animation, and that'll be this one, war cry, and we'll add a 7-second delay. So now that the info plugin is installed, we can do some interesting things with delays. What's going to happen now is when we click on this mushroom and we're level 1 to 5, we're going to have a little 7-second pause here before it actually teleports us. So we're going to add that back in. We're going to hit finish, quit, we're going to save, and I'm going to fire this up in game and show you how this one looks. Okay, so we're back in game, and now we're going to demonstrate this mushroom here again, which should take us over here, but this time we're going to get a little bit of a delay. So as you can see, we got our progress bar, we got our little animation, and our special effect, and boom, we teleported. So as you can see, you can have whatever kind of delay you want on there. If you want a 60-second delay or a 30-second delay or a short 7-second delay, pretty easy to do. You get the info plugins progress bar leveraged here. Poof, and your teleport. So that's one way you can stop the instant teleport and apply some effects and animations to it, just to spice things up, make it look a little more interesting. And there you have it. So again, you can apply that to other areas. Your destination doesn't have to be just a few meters away. It can be a completely different area. And again, this is still all supported by single-player modules. You don't need to do any database or multiplayer for this stuff. But that, I believe, is just about it for standard teleporting. What I want to demonstrate in the next tutorial is something that you can do, put a little twist on using the teleport plugin, and just kind of like a little bit of outside the box thinking, and some of the tricks that you can do to spice up your module. So we'll see you back in the tool set in a second. Okay, so we are back in the tool set now, and we're going to use the teleport plugin in a little bit of a different way than you may have originally thought about. What we have here, or what I'm going to kind of illustrate here, is a typical dungeon trap. What we have is I've just got a little bit of a hallway here. Now, of course, you kind of have to imagine this being a large dungeon with lots of, adventure in it, creatures and whatnot. But in this particular example, we're just going to assume that this is a hallway. And what we have at the end of this hallway right here is we're going to have a trap. That trap is going to be a pit. And a player is going to come along, they're going to hit this trap and fall into the pit, take some damage, and have to try and get out. We're going to use the Legends teleport plugin to create this trap. So the first thing we do is we're just going to note that I just changed the start position to here. It's the same module as I had before. I just created an additional area. So what you have to do first is create your trap, and to do that, we're going to just grab a empty trigger. Now under the standard triggers list, there's one called New Generic. So we're just going to grab that generic trigger. We're just going to draw it right here. And of course, you're going to get a lot fancier with this when you're actually doing this for real. But for this demo, I'm just going to do that. And of course, this is going to be our teleporter, and it's going to teleport us to a destination. So we need a waypoint destination. So I'm just going to again grab a regular old waypoint, and I'm going to put it right here in this little cave area. I'm just going to lay it right there, and I'm going to call this, I'm just going to pull this over, and I'm just going to change the tag to uh, pit in. That's our waypoint destination, pit in. And we're going to make things even a little bit more interesting. What I'm going to do just for fun, I'm going to go to triggers, we're going to go to traps, and we're going to grab the, where are you? We're just going to grab the minor spike trap, and we're going to surround this waypoint with that. There we go. So now when the player comes along and hits our little trigger trap, falls in, lands here, they're going to hit the spikes at the bottom of the pit. Now, we want, of course, make this work. So what we have to do is just select this trigger, fire up our teleport plugin, select File, Teleport Trigger Instance, and configure that waypoint on it, which we called pit in was the destination. And there's not going to be any kind of delay on it. However, I do want a teleport effect, and the teleport effect I'm going to put on this is FX door explosion. It's a Ceph effect, and the reason I'm doing this is the FX door explosion is kind of like a puff of smoke with some wood and stuff, dust and debris flies around for a couple seconds, and I think this was useful if you have multiple people in your dungeon and they're all kind of walking along. One guy's kind of leading the way. He'll fall into the pit first. Everybody will see this big puff of smoke and things and know that something's happened. So they'll on their screen they're not just going to see a player vanish. They're actually going to see a puff of smoke. And the player kind of disappear, and then they'll kind of know, and hopefully they're communicating, and they'll be able to tell them, "Oh, wait, I just fell into a pit," and they'll see that. Of course, we do want some kind of sound effect for when the player does fall. So one sound effect that might do the trick for something like this is the whirlwind sound. So kind of like a whooshing sound as the player falls into the pit. And of course we do want to tell the player what just happened, so putting in an optional message will allow us to have that player see, get some information about, oh, what just happened. So we're going to say, you've fallen into a pit. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to hit add on that and finish. And that's it. Our pit is created. Now, of course, if we wanted to leave the player in here forever, we could be done, but we really don't want to do that. We want to allow them a way out. So how we're going to do that is we're actually going to create another teleporter so that they can get out. Now, how we're going to do this is we're just going to grab a placeable. And one placeable that'll probably do the trick is the roots placeable. There's a placeable object in here. It looks like cave roots, or sorry, tree roots. Not that one. Actually, maybe that one. Oh, no, this one will do. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just kind of hang these roots here, like so. And, if this was real, I'd probably spend a little bit more effort making this look better. But there's our roots. I'm going to grab a copy of this waypoint rather than try and find it again. And we're just going to have that out here. We're going to call this one, I'm just going to change the tag of this one called pit out over here. And just like the just like the teleporter going in, we have our source placeable and our destination. So we're just going to configure this placeable object as our way out. So we'll go plugins and teleport plugin. However, this time we're going to hit a placeable instance, not a trigger. So this will be a placeable. And our destination is going to be pit out. And of course, an optional message. You've climbed out of the pit. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, that could be pretty easy, but why don't we just up it a notch here? And we're going to actually put a requirement check on here, and just to make a player's skills a little bit more useful, we're going to put a skill check requirement on this, and we're going to change the skill DC to something like I don't know, 14. Well, actually, why don't we make it 16 for this demonstration? And we're actually going to show them their skill roll. That's what the show skill button does, whether they actually want to see the skill or not. And the skill is on the requirement value. We're going to use, just for this demo, we're just, use survival. So you have to make a survival skill to try and climb out of the pit. And that's it. We're going to hit add, and we're going to hit finish and quit. And that's it. We're done. So I'm going to fire this up in the game and give it a whirl and see how it looks. So we'll see you in there in a second.